Welcome to Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John.
And I'm Richard.
Hi, everybody. We have viewer mail today. We're going to look at some of your questions, comments, replies, responses, brickbats. What is a brickbat? I always used to
That's a
see
good
them
question.
in
That's
the
a very
Marvel bullpen bulletins. We want your brickbats. What the hell is a brickbat? But before we get started, the usual request from us, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. If you like what you see and you want more of it, hit like to help us support the algorithm, and hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. We're going to get started right away, Richard. I don't like wasting time. You know, I like to get right to the point. It's our hot book of the week. Tell the folks what it is.
Our hot book this week is Young Romance number 150 from DC Comics.
Gosh, who picked this one, Richard?
I have no idea.
Well, you know, you guys, we usually pick something a little modern or something that's popping because of a movie announcement or something. And I don't know. I don't feel that's our audience anymore, really. I think we've kind of found our groove. These are books that are hot for different reasons than speculation and movie announcements and things like that. And this is certainly one of them. This is a classic J. Scott Pike cover. Richard and I were just talking about this cover before we started recording it. Richard had no idea J. Scott Pike was the same guy who drew one of his favorite books.
Right. He drew Dolphin, which is one of my favorite covers. I love that cover. So I have great respect for this artist.
He has a really neat sense of composition and design, because not only that Dolphin cover with kind of the diagonal cut of her pose on the cover and the simplicity of it, but this cover as well, where it's just a close up of a 60s swinging mod chick seeing her lover cheating on her or whatever through her sunglasses. Classic cover. Why is this a hot book this week? A 6.0 sold this week for $675.
Wow.
This same book in the same grade sold in 2021 for $69. That is a nice ballooning of an investment, is it not?
Absolutely. Is this an outlier, you think?
If you're thinking this is an outlier, you're wrong, because a 5.0 of this same book sold in December for $406.
Wow. Okay.
So this book is caught on fire. It's a very desirable book. It's very tough in grade. In terms of grade, there is a 9.4 Savannah pedigree out there that would probably go for a small fortune at this point. But a lot of these young romance covers, the J. Scott Pike mod ones, the Nick Cardy ones, the John Romita Sr. issues, they command a premium. There are romance collectors out there, good girl art collectors, and they love these books. Have you ever thought about dipping your toe into this area?
Oh man, it's the same as horror. I'm afraid to get involved because that means it's one more area for my money to disappear.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I have dipped my toe into the romance, mostly the Marvel Bronze Age romance. I had a full run of Our Love Story and My Love, and again, great John Romita Sr. covers. A lot of Sal Buscema covers on those, even some Jim Starlin stuff. If you like just beautifully drawn, quiet stories, this is your jam. If you're looking for a slash, bam, smash, boom action, not so much. All right, Richard, time for our main topic. You know it. I know it. We call it viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Take it away. What's your first piece?
My first piece is from Second Best Bob. Love the name. I have no slabs. This is in regards to our counterfeit slab conversation last week. So I can't be scammed with one. I can't imagine not being able to touch, read, and smell my comics. However, I don't have any books worth more than a few $100s, so maybe that's the difference. And I love the old fart section. Well, thank you very much.
That is the difference. You don't have any books worth
No,
$2,000.
I can hear you. I definitely hear you because when I get an old classic book, and old comics have a smell to them. That was one of the giveaways for this counterfeit book. It didn't smell like um, a real comic from that era. So being able to open the book and read it is definitely that kind of sensation part of interacting with a book. Your five senses. Put it in a slab, and it is you can't touch it again. All you do is you can look at it. So I know some collectors who only have ungraded books. They don't have slabs. We have a mutual friend. Our friend Evan does not have any slab book, with the exception he submitted his first
I
book
was going to say, he
to
just sent one in.
CGC, an NYX number 3 to CGC. He's as patiently as Evan can, waiting for that slab to come back. So yeah, not everybody has a huge collection of slabs, and that's fine. This is a hobby where people can collect in their manner, and if you don't have slabs, you don't fall for some of these schemes.
My first piece of viewer mail comes from our Instagram account. Courtney Wright slid into our DMs and writes, "Hi, John and Richard. So I moved to Pennsylvania this August. And on my way home and back for the holidays, I binged the back catalog of Bronze and Modern Gods to hype up for a few forays to comic shops along the way. Lessons learned. Number one, Pittsburgh and Columbus are amazing places for comics. Pittsburgh comics, especially. Wow, their back issues and dollar bins? Forget about it. Richard, have you ever been to Pittsburgh
I
for a
have
comic?
not. I have not. I may have to make a trip.
Well, wait for me. Road trip. I'll come back.
Pittsburgh's about 2 hours from where we are.
Yeah. Number two, comic shops can be a little bit intimidating, especially for me, a forever comic noob at heart. For example, at one store, I accidentally said AMS instead of ASM, and boy, was my face red. Thankfully, I recovered by weighing in on topics I'd only learned about on Bronze and Modern Gods, and especially saved face when I checked out and the clerk saw a pile of books I'd never have known about if it wasn't for y'all's podcast. Thank you guys. Your show is the best, and I really appreciate it. You all do a good job of making listeners feel welcome, and yeah, I'm a big fan. P.S. I'm getting close to completing a full run of Quasar. Courtney, right? You are the best.
Well, thanks for the tip. I am going to be traveling to Columbus more often, um, so this is a revelation for me. I'm going to have to visit some of the shops down there.
I've never been to Columbus since I think I went to go see a concert there in 1998. Was the last time I've been to Columbus, Ohio.
Wow, 1998. Isn't that 25 years ago?
Nice try. Not yet. I appreciate it though.
Yeah, I'm a straight man, so I was just
Do
working my
me, do
job.
me a favor. Put that in your pocket for a few
Okay,
minutes from
all right.
now. You'll use that. What is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece of viewer mail is from Mason Shee. Do you know if auction houses will do a counterfeit review on their slab books? Just wanting to know if there is a higher level of confidence in purchasing from companies like Heritage and Comic Link. This is a very, very good question, John.
Very good. Yeah.
Do you know if they do? I'm assuming they do provenance checks on the higher grade books, especially pedigree books, but I don't know if it's a guaranteed thing.
I know. Well, I'm going to make an assumption, which we know is the mother of all. Um, I would assume everything's guaranteed. I mean, if I got a book from Heritage and it was counterfeit, I would imagine Heritage would make it good. Here's the thing: if you're a scammer, you're not going to try to scam Heritage and Comic Link because they know exactly who submitted the book when. You're signing all sorts of forms when
Mm.
you send a book to them. You're giving them your driver's license number, everything. So this is more of, unfortunately, a Facebook Marketplace, meet me at the Starbucks parking lot kind of thing than it would be through an auction house. So I would feel pretty secure going through an auction house at this point.
Good point, because Comic Link, I know, when you're going to sell a book, you give them all kinds of information to be
Mhm.
able to track. First of all, it's there to uh, be able to pay you when the book actually sells, but it also gives that sense of provenance, and gives them a way of tracking back to the original seller if there is an issue. So yeah, I would be very comfortable with both Heritage and Comic Link. Now remember also, for both of those places, you pay a premium.
You're
uh,
paying for it. Yes.
so it's a trade-off for security and safety versus overall expense.
100%. My next piece of viewer mail comes from our buddy Zach Duncan, aka the Prince of Cheese on Instagram. Zach writes, viewer mail. Did anything happen with CBCS losing all those books?
Oh yeah.
Wow, Zach, that's taken me back. Remember that?
I do. I remember that. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear myself.
Yeah, I haven't heard a thing. You guys in the comments hit us up if you've heard something, but I think they've been very quiet. However, on other things, they've been very vocal this week, CBCS. Breaking news on my phone from the CBCS Comics Instagram account from, let's see, 4 days ago. Pricing tier update. So prices are going up. I don't know what they are at currently because I don't use CBCS, but no announcement about the lost books. But if you want to give them more money, they'll be happy to take it from you right now.
Yes. For those who don't know, apparently CBCS lost about 130 books, I believe it was, from one dealer who submitted books in to be graded. Just up and lost them. And so, that's bad press to begin with, but even worse for that particular dealer who had customers that are now out of a book, or at least, I haven't seen anything that said otherwise.
Other complaints about CBCS, they announce new turnaround times have been reduced, and yet there are people like our mutual friend Forrest who have books over there for over a year, and they're still there. So instead of increasing turnaround or decreasing turnaround times for new submissions, maybe clear out your back stock first. It's such a bad look. Why do people do that?
Right. It makes you reluctant to submit books if you don't have a good idea when you're going to get them back.
Oh, we have no options anymore. Richard, what's your next piece of your mail?
Wow, we're just happiness we're
I
sprouting here.
know.
My next piece of mail is from Hennigan Jones. I refused to buy store exclusives, but
Go
god
ahead.
damn, I may have copped that Power Girl had I known about it. That's absolutely perfect. This is a store exclusive Power Girl cover for Action Comics number 1031 that was absolutely gorgeous. And I agree. For a lot of store exclusives, I don't buy. I hate the process that Marvel takes now of having a trade dress version of a book for these store exclusives, and then a virgin where you can only get the virgin if you also buy the trade dress. It is such a scam. But sometimes the covers are amazing. The cover for this book was absolutely gorgeous, and um, I jumped on it. There are some store exclusives that I think are worth the money and worth the effort. But for the most part, you know, variant cover number 97 for Amazing Spider-Man number 900, I'll pass.
I hear you. I've stopped cold turkey. It's like it's actually been a lot easier than I thought. I'm not in the corner, hunched over, shivering like I'm going through withdrawals. I don't miss it. I enjoy the extra money to spend on Young Romance 150.
Yeah.
My next piece of viewer mail is again in our Instagram DMs. JLadMD, a good friend of ours, writes, "Hi, John and Richard. Sorry I missed the sale last evening. We had a live sale last Saturday.
Mhm.
Surprise. I've been meaning to ask advice. I know you both do your own pressing, but do you know of a pressing service you would recommend aside from CGC/CCS? Thanks as always and love your channel, Jason." Jason, you're absolutely right. Don't ever use CCS. Ever, 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 ever. Sorry. Too many nightmare stories.
Yeah.
Get mad all you want, CGC. Hit us in the comments. I don't care. You guys have done this to yourselves. We're just reporting it.
Uh-huh.
Do I recommend anyone? Not as a regular practice because I don't know anyone that I would trust with my books. I've never used an outside pressing service ever. What I do
He said duty.
DD Mega Doo for all of you people that know that classic news blooper. What I DD Mega Do is recommend Captain Mike's book on pressing and really doing it yourself. I know is a learning curve. It's not instantaneous, but it's so better in the long run because you control your own destiny. You know what you're doing. Richard has even gotten over his fear of pressing modern books, and now he's pressing modern books for his buddies.
Yeah, yeah. It's def- I agree with John wholeheartedly. CCS is, first of all, they take forever to get your book back. So if you submit your book to be graded and you submit it to CCS first, you are not going to get your book back in any reasonable time, in my opinion. Second of all, there are a lot of horror stories about people who have submitted books to be pressed and the book is damaged in the process.
Popped
So,
staples, it didn't get pressed at all, and they slabbed it anyway. I mean, I've seen it all. And I haven't just heard it all, I've seen it all.
mhm. People are very vocal about the problems they've had with CCS. So I cannot recommend them. Other grading companies also have pressing services. I would be hesitant to recommend them either. If you're going to go with a third party presser, find somebody who can give you, um, you know, recommendations from previous customers, so you can get a feel for what the quality of their work is. Don't take for granted that they say they do a good job.
Right.
Find out what their customers say. It's important that you feel comfortable with sending your book to them, because you could be establishing a long-term relationship with them. If you're not willing to press your own books, it's always good to find somebody who you can outsource that to.
I'm always hesitant to recommend someone. We get asked this weekly, at least once. And the only reason I'm hesitant is a couple reasons, not just one reason. If I name one guy, another guy is going to be mad I didn't name him because he follows
Mhm.
us on Instagram. And how come you didn't mention me? And et cetera, et cetera. And I've never used an outside source, and I cannot, in good faith, recommend an outside source without ever having used it myself. So that's
Yeah.
why.
I've only had an outside source press a book once for me. I wasn't really happy with the end result, and then that's when I bought my own press.
Well,
So,
you've had two. You've had one with a really great result.
oh, that's okay. Okay, I will take. But I don't count you as outside.
Okay.
You're family, so
Yeah,
that
you
doesn't
might not be talking about me. I pressed your book to my heaven.
count.
All right. What's your next piece of your mail?
My next piece is from Cheese Frog 99. Did you suggest Sad Comics and 7 of 9 Comics as good online
I
retailers?
wondered what you were saying. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I
I,
must have been mumble mouthing
yeah.
because all right. So I'm going to have John. I made a list here of sites that I consider good online retailers. They have good store variants. I've had nothing but good results buying from them, and they're a great place to go if you're looking for these store exclusive we were talking about earlier. Stadium Comics, 789 is the site that is 7 of 9.
I
Uh,
see. It's 7, 8, ATE, not
right,
the number 8, and 9. Okay. Wow.
right.
That's a really good
It's
name, guys. You might
Sad Lemon Comics is Sad Comics. Uh,
add 7.
mm, Eastside Comics, Comic Mint, which is one of my favorite, and I also have a site. I have refused to use the bully pulpit to talk down about anybody, but 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I had bad experience at Comic Exposure. So I cannot recommend them at all. I haven't bought anything from them since then. But these other sites, great sites to buy from. I've had nothing but good experience a lot of times, multiple times. So check them out.
I would also suggest to 789 and Sad Lemon name change, perhaps.
Oh,
Maybe a little.
there's some terrible names out there for
You
some of these
wonder why
websites.
people get confused and they can't find you.
Yeah.
No, I semi tease, I semi kid, half serious. All
Mhm.
right, my last piece of viewer mail is from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com. Feel free to hit us up there as well. And it is from Ben Whitehead, who knows how to get right to my heart. Ben writes, I happened to get a copy of Captain America number 217, and it got me thinking about Quasar. We're always all thinking about Quasar here. Which book is the better spec book? Cap 217 before he's Quasar, or Hulk 234 when he becomes Quasar? In the past, with other books, it can go either way. For example, with Carnage, Cletus Cassidy first appears in Spider-Man 344, but the first full appearance of Carnage is in issue 361. As we all know, 361 is the higher priced book. However, if we look at Hush from Batman, Thomas Elliot first appears in Batman 609, and the first appearance of Hush in costume is 619. 609 is the higher price book, so not sure where to invest in Quasar. Wanted to get your thought. Thanks. And a side note, got my first Lamole variant because of you guys. I love it. It's for Darkness Zero. Good job, Ben. Ben, this one's easy. The market has spoken. It is Captain America 217, flat out, period. Look at the prices. It's right there. The Carnage example is different because Cletus Cassidy, when he first appears, is an inmate in prison, and you get to see a little bit of the symbiote, in that issue. That's it. You don't actually see Carnage until 361 when he is Carnage. Cap 217, it's Wendell Vaughn. He's wearing the original Quasar costume. His name is Marvel Boy. All Hulk 234 is literally one panel where a bunch of kids see him and go, haha, your name's Marvel Boy, that's stupid, or Marvel Man, sorry, Marvel Man, that's stupid. And he goes, well, my name's Quasar now, and he flies off. That's literally all the Hulk is. So you're good with 217. Now, you cannot just have Cap 217 if you're going to be a Quasar guy. You got to have the Hulk too. So just buy them both. Problem solved.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those cases like the whole Hulk 181, 180, where the market determines the value, not your particular opinion. Right. So I agree with John. 217 is the way to go.
Do you have a Cap 217?
I do.
Is it a 9.8?
God, no.
9.8 of this book is tough. You know how many I've submitted over the years, and I've never gotten a 9.8 back. It is really tough. It's got that black cover. But yeah, it's a shame. You had something really good a few minutes ago, transition-wise, and I can't remember what it was.
We were talking about something from 1998.
The last time I went to Columbus was 1998, blah, 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 25-year rule. Okay, the 25-year rule is when we go back 25 years to 1998 to talk about the books that shaped your adolescence, your young adulthood, and you want to reclaim it. So that's when the rule of 25 years kicks in and you start to rebuy your childhood. Richard, you picked this one. Oh my God, I remember this event.
Yeah, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 434, the first appearance of the Ricochet, which Spider-Man was accused of murder, and he put on several different costumes. This is part of the identity crisis, to continue to fight crime, since he couldn't be Spider-Man, and this is one of those costumes. I picked this book mainly because this is a rare book where CGC recognized years ago that there was a newsstand version that it should call out. And so you can get this book, if it's a newsstand, with newsstand on the label. This has been a point of contention for CGC forever because in general, up until recently, they did not call out newsstand books. You could submit newsstands and they would get the same blue label that a direct book would get. This book got that newsstand, and I'm a little bit jealous.
Isn't the cover different?
That I don't know. I posted. Yeah.
I think it has a different cover because one has Amazing Spider-Man cover with the Amazing Ricochet cover underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And one has the Ricochet cover with the Spider-Man cover underneath. And the newsstand is just the Spider-Man cover only with no Ricochet cover at all.
So that would make sense.
I noted it. Right.
Okay.
Which is scarce because it is a variant of this book.
Yeah, and apparently a hard to come by variant. The CGC 9.8 for this book goes on eBay for about $300. So check those dollar bins.
This era of Spider-Man, we don't know what we're doing. We're past the Clone Saga. Are we past the Clone Saga? No, Clone Saga is a little bit in the rearview mirror, but he's still married to Mary Jane. The baby's been stolen from them, but we never speak of it ever. We ignore that. And this was spun off as a team book called Slingers that featured Ricochet and Hornet and just the D-list of the D-list. And they wonder why it only lasted a few issues. Oh, I'm not a fan of this era.
This was in between my period, so I never read this when it came out on the newsstand.
I don't get it, but God bless if you like it. Hey, underrated books of the week. I can start off this week, Richard. I don't think I've talked about this book in underrated books of the week. If I have, and I'm repeating myself, I fully expect you all to slap me in the comments. But my underrated book this week is Love and Rockets number 24. This is an all-time classic cover by Jaime Hernandez. You've seen this. If you're just even the drive by, I kind of know what Love and Rockets is fan. You've seen this cover. You've seen me wear this t-shirt on this very podcast several times. This book is beautiful. This cover, the composition, the use of darks on this cover, the sparseness, and yet the little detail of the crowd. Look in the crowd and look at the faces and look at what's happening. Someone's getting crushed up against the stage. Another person's getting ready to throw a bottle. There's just so much cool happening on this cover, especially if you grew up in this era going to hardcore shows like this. It just speaks to you. No
Absolutely.
CGC, yeah, no CGC sales in GPA. I
At
can't
all?
at all. I'm not seeing any, but a high grade raw copy of this just sold for $199 last month on eBay. So these are still out there in bins. And I have a witness right next to me who saw this happen last month at California Comic Con when I found a copy of this book for $5, a 9.8 candidate of this book sitting in a bin for $5.
Yeah, and the thing is, I went to the guy first and asked him. I always ask for number one, Love and Rockets number one, because I'm looking for a higher grade than what I have, and he didn't have it, so I just poo-pooed it and moved on. John, being John, instead went through the long box and found a bunch of high grade Love and Rockets, including number 24. So kudos to you for doing the footwork.
I was wrong. I said it was $5. It was marked $5. I got 20% off for ASCII.
This cover is iconic. America did a homage to this cover. There's been homage before. I can't. That was the only one I could think of off the top of my head. Gorgeous cover. Jaime is just a master at composition and detail, and his panels are just amazing. So
Beautiful.
I miss Love and Rockets. I need to go back and read it again.
You should. I know you dismiss it as the adventures of Maggie in her 50s going grocery shopping. It is a lot more than that. The thing is, it comes out so infrequently, you kind of forget what's going on. This is a book you need to sit down and binge a
Mhm.
whole bunch of issues at once, and it's a much more fulfilling experience when you do that. You have an excellent pick this week, by the way.
Oh, thank you. My pick this week is Strange Tales Annual number 2 from 1963. They only did 2 annuals, number 1, and this is the second one, number 2. This is the fourth appearance of Spider-Man. And I am just amazed that this book is as now okay. Fourth appearance may sound like you're going down a little bit too far, like the fourth appearance of Carnage, for example. But this is Spider-Man, The it's got a classic Jack Kirby cover. It is an amazing book to be at the price point that it is. 9.0s you could find for about the last sale he was here in February was $3,600, but you can get raws of this book for as cheap as $90 on eBay right now.
Insanity.
It's amazing. The lower grade books are around $100, $200. It's really easy to get into it. It's one of those books that I think people are overlooking it because it is that low. But I wondered how much is the fourth appearance of Superman, okay, and another major character. Of course, it's more expensive because that book comes from 1930s. But this book is the fourth appearance of one of the most iconic characters ever. And if you're looking for a cheap entry into that rarefied era of his earlier appearances, this is a great buy.
I think what stops a lot of people with this book is they don't know about it. And then they see that cover, and that cover, you know, no one's a bigger Jack Kirby fan than me. Look at my shirt today, an
Mhm.
Eternals t-shirt. Jack cannot draw Spider-Man to save his life. Has never been able to draw a convincing Spider-Man, and this cover is no exception. Now, to be fair, it's early in Spider-Man's
Mhm.
career. It's the fourth appearance, but Jack forgets to draw the spider emblem on the chest on the cover. Uh, I blame the inker and the editor for not catching it and correcting it because Jack's working on 90 copies of the or 90 books at the same month.
Mhm.
Someone should really be editing these books, Mr. Lee. But I think that it has a lot to do with it too. Is it, it doesn't appeal to that funky Ditko kind of look, and people just don't realize it's that early, contemporaneous with Spider-Man number 3
Mhm.
came out that same month. So it's a very, very underrated book. It is a bear in grade. You cannot find this book above a 7.0, and if you do, hold on to it and do not sell, because people will come around to this book eventually.
I think so too. Now it's time to buy.
Great, great pick, Richard. And that is going to wrap things up. Remind the good folks where they can find us during the week.
They can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Bronze and Modern Gods or the website bronzeandmoderngods.com.
You know the deal to help us out. Hit like, hit subscribe, stay positive this week. I don't know. I'm trying to give some inspirational thoughts on the way out.
Uh,
Save
yep.
your money. Put it
Save
into
your money.
uh, put it into a good mutual fund. We'll see you next time.
Everybody stay safe.